Uh, hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, okay, please, don't dislike the video. Don't dislike the video. Hear me out for 1 second, please. Okay, so last time I talked about this franchise, I kinda said that I was gonna start playing Yakuza 0, yeah? Well, I installed the game, I started up the game, I got to the main menu, and I didn't start playing it, but okay, I started the game, right? I have the game. Listen, do you hear that case? Do you hear the CD? It's Yakuza 0. Okay, I'm lying like shit. This is actually the case for judgment. I couldn't find the game. Trust me, I have it. I'm gonna play it someday, just not today. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about Yakuza 1, or Yakuza, as it's just simply called that. Now, I've actually been looking forward to playing Yakuza 1 for a long time now, but I wasn't sure. Well, no, I knew for a fact that I wanted to play the original PS2 games before I played Kiwami, because there's something about me, I don't like playing remakes of games or remasters of games without having a reference point of what the original game felt like. So I'm gonna go through Yakuza 1 as I'm doing right now, then I'm gonna go through 2, and then maybe like some years in the future, I don't know how long that'll be, because I've been saying I would play Yakuza 0 since 2017. Someday I'll go through Kiwami 1 and then Kiwami 2. I believe those are two separate games, or is Kiwami just a compilation of Yakuza 1 and 2 remade? I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, man, I'm going through the original Yakuza game on the PS2. The footage you're going to be seeing here is Yakuza probably like 4, because I'm playing Yakuza 1 on the PC, and I'm sure you're asking, how the hell is he playing a PS2 game on the PC? Well, lads, it's illegal. And my PC can't fucking handle me playing an emulator and recording at the same time, so you're gonna have to see footage of a different game. But holy fucking shit, this game is massive, lads. This game is okay, so Yakuza, we already know how fucking massive this game already is, but it's like the era that I started playing the games on would have been the PS3 era, then we see it onto the PS4 era, then now we see it on the PS5, but it's like back on the PS2, yeah? This game was already so fucking huge. And excuse me, because I'm going to be talking from a standpoint of, I have played a bunch of Yakuza games, but I'm not really in the fandom as a sense, so I don't know any of the inner workings of the games or like the company or anything like that. Because usually when I start playing a game, I don't like to really join the community until after I've gotten caught up with the story and all that. And I'm still very far behind on like Yakuza games and all that. So I don't know any of the inner workings. So I'm probably going to be wrong about a bunch of information that I say here. So please excuse me if I am saying anything wrong. It's just speculation. But when I got into Yakuza, right, it was on its up, because there was a low point for the series. And the low point that I really remember would have been when Yakuza 5 came out and it didn't get a freaking American release, or excuse me, it didn't get a physical release outside of Japan. If you wanted the English version of the game back on the PS3, you had to download it. The only way that you could get a physical copy of Yakuza 5 is if it was a Japanese copy, and obviously that would only be in Japanese, which is exactly the copy that I have of the game. And that was because if my thoughts are correct, the sales numbers for Yakuza games in the West were just very low. But then after that, the game's popularity just fucking spiked. Yakuza 0, fucking Kiwami, 6, 7, and it's just fucking Judgment. It's just fucking exploded after that. And the thing that really gets me is that I just don't understand. This series is so peculiar. After I get situated with the whole entire story and all that, I'm gonna have to look up some documentaries or some videos talking about this series, because it's so weird. When I look at Yakuza 1, which is supposed to be the main subject of this video, but I haven't even started talking about it yet, it's already such a huge game, because I remember thinking about it. I was like, this is the first game in the series. It's probably not going to be good. Kamurocho is probably going to be like some shithole loading screen every 2 seconds when you're trying to go to a new area. Half the stuff that you could do in the new games are probably not going to be in the game. And while that is true to a certain extent, for a PS2 game, my nigga, this game is fucking gigantic. Okay, so first of all, I'm not even getting to spoilers. I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but my nigga, in the first fucking like 2 hours of the game, I went to this random ass bar, tried to pick up this girl, and got fucking drugged. An hour later, I went to a fucking club to see my nigga's girl shaking ass and shit. There is a cross-dressing nigga in a red dress that pulled out a shotgun and tried to fucking assassinate me. What the fuck? And that was a side mission. That wasn't even main story. What the fuck? And what gets me, is that I believe those are like this game's version of sub-stories, and they have like full-on cutscenes and shit, my nigga. Like the thing about the newer Yakuza games, right, is that there are like hundreds of sub-stories in this game, and they obviously can't make cutscenes around them because it's like, who's gonna make cutscenes around like content that most people aren't gonna see? But I think this game, Yakuza 1, the first one, since there aren't many sub-stories in it, I think it allowed the team to really like craft cutscenes and make this shit more engaging. Because one thing that I feel, at least me personally, about the sub-stories in the newer games is that they just aren't engaging to me. Because it's just like text after text after text, and I'm just all like, god damn, like, bro, like some of them are engaging, but it's kind of like, damn, after reading so much text, I'm just like, bro, I'm just hitting X to get to the objective and then just get the sub-story over with. But the sub-stories that I've done in Yakuza 1 already, they were so fucking funny, so goddamn engaging, and I've only done like 2 so far, my guy. Another thing that I feel like might be a downside, but I feel as though this is kind of a plus of the game, is how difficult it is. One thing about the first Yakuza game that I played, if y'all don't know, it's Yakuza 4. Then from 4, I went to 5. Then I went to 6. And what other games did I play? Fuck it, I don't remember. But those games are so easy in comparison to Yakuza 1. And when I first started playing Yakuza 1, I was so pissed off because I was like, there are so many mechanics that they added in the newer games that make the game more fluid. And obviously this is the first game in the series, so there are going to be some clunky mechanics, specifically the camera. I think the camera in this game is fucking atrocious. But other than that, like, this game takes legit skill, in my opinion. Where other Yakuza games, obviously you can have skill and that helps you. But if I'm being fairly honest, my nigga, like, the Yakuza games that I played, all you really gotta do is like spam like attack, bro, and then hit a fucking special, and then you're good. In this game, I find myself fucking strategically planning out how to go through a battle or some shit, because one little slip up and I am fucked, bro. Like, there were so many battles that I've been through so far where my heart was legitimately pumping out of my asshole because hold on, I'm sorry, what the fuck is that phrase? But it's like, you legitimately have to learn the attack patterns of let's specifically talk about boss fights. There are a couple boss fights in this game already where I literally had to learn the attack patterns of the boss mid-fight and adjust to how I can like counter their attacks and then capitalize on them. Because in the other games, if I'm honest, bro, all you really have to do is just go in there, just block a little bit, shift a little bit, and then just get your attacks in. But in this game, you cannot do that shit. Or maybe I haven't unlocked the abilities to allow me to do that shit. But I find myself playing very strategically in this game. And it makes for, in my opinion, a more enjoyable experience versus just going up there and just beasting everybody like a killing machine. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I think having a more difficult, not difficult learning curve, but having a bit of a learning curve where you can't just pile drive through enemies makes the game more engaging and more enjoyable, in my humble opinion. Also, let's talk about planning real quick. So like I said earlier on in the video, the first Yakuza game that I got into was, the first Yakuza game that I bought and purchased would have been Yakuza 4. And hopping into that game was like hopping into a comic book series or a continuity that's been going on for years and picking up issue number like 316. It's like, sure, they give you a bit of like insight as to the characters and what's going on, but you're really just hopping in there naked. And it's very cool for me to finally see the origins of so many characters and so many aspects of the game that I've missed out in the years. Like, I mean, for one, obviously Kamurocho, that's just kind of the staple of these games. Seeing that city in its first iteration is so cool. Seeing the characters that Kiryu comes to love throughout the series, seeing them first meet and be like, oh my gosh, this happens in the later games, or this character turns into this later on. It's such a cool thing to see. And that's kind of the reason why I'm taking such a long time to play Yakuza 0, because I feel like that game is kind of like a love letter from RGG Studios for fans who have stuck around for so long with the series. But anyways, back to my other point, like seeing the first couple interactions with Majima, seeing how Kiryu was perceived in the family or the clan, seeing the relationship brew with Haruka, bro, it's actually just so cool seeing that after seeing the his final essentially in Yakuza 6. But speaking of Majima, Jesus Christ, I forgot to say this game is fully in English. Bro, the voice acting is fucking atrocious. Lads. I don't think I've heard so much cursing since me trying to edit one of these goddamn videos. Lads, the amount of fuck bombs and dickheads that I've heard, the fucking subtitles in these games are showing combo of curses that I've never even heard in my life. Fucking fuck dick, dick fuck, fuck ass. Like, this shit does not flow together whatsoever. And obviously it's a freaking surprise to see Mark Hamill, the voice of the goddamn Joker, show up as Majima. That is quite, it's something. Hearing that, it's something. And I know in the most recent Yakuza games, specifically, obviously, Yakuza 7, they have English voice actors, and I'm not sure if Majima and some of the old characters from the previous game show up, but I'm very curious to see who they went with the English voice actors. Especially Majima. I'm so curious if Majima shows up in Yakuza 7 and who they had to voice him in the new game, because holy fuck, he is such a character as Mark Hamill reprising his role as Mark Hamill voicing him in this game. And another character that just tickled me to no end was, it was like chapter 7. You have to do something for this guy's like daughter or son or some shit. Her father is a Yakuza mob boss, right? And she doesn't say anything the first time you see her. The next time you see her, you have to fight a bunch of goons, right? And then you hear her voice for the my nigga, tell me why she is voiced by fucking Jimmy Neutron. Bro, that shit took me out, my guy. I was just listening there because I was like, oh, this girl is kind of cute. You know what I'm saying? And then I hear her yell for the first, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I hear her talk for the first, I'm like, yo, is that my nigga Goddard brain blasting this bitch? Like, oh, Jimmy, can I talk to your mom? Face ass, bro, that shit killed me, yo. But bringing it back to Majima. Okay, and I don't know if this was planned by RGG, but yo, there is a boss fight in the game where you have to go against Majima. Bro. Okay, so the first game that got me into Yakuza, it would have been Yakuza 0. I remember seeing gameplay of that game so many years ago and being all like, this shit looks so goddamn realistic. And it reminds me of freaking Sleeping Dogs. And that is one of my favorite games of all time. And I remember playing the demo of Yakuza 0 back to back so many times. So the combat in that game is stuck in my head. And I've been itching to play that game for so long, but apparently not itchy enough, because even though I have the game, I still haven't even fucking played it yet. Trust me, I will play it someday. Lads, get off my ass. But I've seen gameplay of Majima in Yakuza 0. And my God, when you face Majima in Yakuza 1 back on the PS2, bro, I swear they captured his fight style from the first game into 0. I'm all like, yo, it was so confusing because I was all like, I've seen gameplay of Majima in Yakuza 0 for years. And then I see it in the first game. I'm all like, no way they planned that. But I'm like, obviously sitting here, I'm just all like, oh, maybe they just looked at how he fought in Yakuza 1 and was all like, oh, maybe we should adapt that into his playstyle in Yakuza 0. I'm like, that is so cool. That is such a cool little aspect that if they did do that, that is so dope. Honestly, that is so dope. Okay, so this part of the video is where a bunch of speculation on my half will take place, and I will get a lot of information wrong because, like I said, I don't know anything about Yakuza except what the games tell you and all that. I don't know anything about RGG Studios or Sega or none of that. But this game is very fucking peculiar. Obviously, this is Sega. I don't know what other games RGG Studios made before Yakuza 1. I'm assuming they started purely because of Yakuza 1, because their name is literally the title of the game, Ryuga Gotoku. But being a game from Sega, I obviously have to assume that it had to have been some sort of influence from the Shenmue series, because Yakuza kind of feels like, I don't want to say love child, but kind of like a sister project of Shenmue, but more streamlined for a wider audience. But for a first game installment, this game already feels fucking massive. Like, you take a look at other games that started in the PS2 era, what is that, the sixth generation of consoles? Yeah, the sixth generation of consoles. And then you look at how their games pan out from series that are still around. Look at games like Devil May Cry that started on the PS2. Games like Kingdom Hearts, or like Persona. Persona started on PS1, but let's just use that as well. You see those games and you can see how small they are in scale, and how the companies are still working out the kinks and all that, and how they work it out in the newer titles. But if you ask me, despite how clunky I feel Yakuza 1 is, it is still a solid ass game. And why I am surprised to say that is because, why did it take so long for this game to take off? It's my question. The game was already fucking perfect, if you ask me. Again, I haven't finished the game. This isn't a review. This is literally just my first impressions of it. But it already feels so perfect and such like a solid PS2 experience. What took this game so long to take off? Because from my understanding, the game kind of took off after the series kind of took off after Yakuza 0. And I'm wondering, right? Because Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 2 are both on the PS2. And then Yakuza 3 starts, Yakuza 3 through Yakuza, actually I think Yakuza 0 is also on the PS3. But Yakuza 3 through 5 is the PS3 era. And I'm wondering if the PS3 era of Yakuza games was where the series kind of dipped in popularity. Because another aspect of Yakuza games that I should also mention, I haven't played 3. I started with 4, so I don't know what 3 is like. But every game since 4 has big name fucking Japanese celebrities in it. I'm talking like, I can't really tell y'all like the scale of how big these fucking celebrities are, but nigga, Judgment, literally the main dude in Judgment, I believe his name is Yagami, is literally like the equivalent of Robert Downey Jr. in America. That is the main dude in fucking Judgment. They have so many fucking huge celebrities in these games, and some of them aren't even a part of the fucking main story. Some of them are just fucking side sub-story niggas. So I know RGG or fucking Sega are throwing out a fucking bag full of money to get these fucking people in their games, yeah? So if I'm wondering if not only the cost to get these people to act in these games, but also the waning popularity of the series during the PS3 era potentially almost cost this series to stay strictly in Japan. Because I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I was all like, this game feels, Yakuza 1 feels so much better than Yakuza 4 and 5 to me. And I'm going to say 3 as well, because those 3 games seem to play the same, and then Yakuza 0 seems to be where they changed up the combat system. Maybe they started a new engine with Yakuza 0, because after that, Yakuza 6, that game feels fucking amazing. But if I have to be honest, going back to playing Yakuza 4 and 5 to me just kind of feels like a bit of a slug. I don't know how to explain it. Even though Yakuza 4 is the game that I'm playing right now, since it is my first Yakuza game, it's very special to me. But if it wasn't, I definitely would not play that game, because if I'm honest, it's not very fun to fight compared to other Yakuza games. This first game is fun because of the strategizing and the adjusting to battle that I have to do. And then the newer titles, after the ones that were made from 0 and onward, are just fun because they are just so fucking hectic and fast and just like, in your goddamn face. But 3, 4, and 5 to me, they're just kind of there. They're just kind of sluggish in my opinion. So I wonder if the port to PS3 after the PS2 generation, the company and their games popularity just kind of dipped, and that's why the games didn't get any English releases, any American physical releases until Yakuza 0 came out. I don't know. That's just my speculation. I don't know the actual story. It's just my general thinking about the series. But yeah, man, I'm enjoying Yakuza 1, going through, seeing the origins of Kiryu, seeing the origins and the rise of Kamurocho into what it is, RG Studios, Yakuza, and all of that, just seeing the whole entire just origin story of everything, man. It's cool to see. Can't wait to play through Yakuza 2, 3, potentially Kiwami 2, and then hopefully someday, I promise you, I will play Yakuza 0. It's been Justice. Thanks for watching. Peace.